This is December 21st at the Glory Days Grill, the Providence District monthly meeting of the Fairfax County Republican Committee.
Hi everybody. Thank you very much for coming out this morning. Merry Christmas. That may sound like a funny thing to say on a talk that says stop the meals tax, but we actually make it to the last slide. Get ready for an avalanche of numbers, by the way. But if we make it to the last slide, there really are solutions. It only took me 30 years as taxpayer alliance president to figure it out. But there are solutions, and that should make you very if we ever get to them. So stop the meals tax. And I realize you can't see the slides. I'll be reading them to you. Next. So why are the supervisors proposing meals tax? Well, they say it's because real estate taxes are too high. And they're right. For a quarter of a century now, while household incomes have been increasing about the same rate as inflation, real estate taxes have been increasing 3 times faster than household income. So the supervisors are saying, well, we're pressuring the homeowners too much, so let's implement another tax, but a tax that's paid somewhat by visitors to the county. Next. To say that they're overtaxing the households is an understatement. These 2 graphs come from the county budget. This is from the 2001 budget. Can you hear me? I know you can hear me. Can you understand me? Yes. Okay. And this is from this year's budget. And all you need to know is that in 2001, half of the county's revenue came from real estate taxes. Now, 2/3 of the county's revenue is coming from real estate taxes. This is really significant because it shows we have a dead economy. All other revenues, other than residential real estate taxes, excise taxes, utility taxes, commercial real estate taxes,
Car taxes,
fines, interest, all other revenue sources have not kept up with population and inflation and have not kept up with county spending. And I'm not the only one to say that we have a well-run economy. Next. So there was recently the Northern Virginia Transportation Alliance called a Capital Economic Forum, and the talk was given by Dr. Terry Clower from George Mason University, and this is one of his charts, which I realize you can't read, so I'll tell you what it says. 384 metropolitan areas in the United States, in terms of economic prosperity, Washington, D.C. ranks 314th. And by the way, number 1 is Salt Lake City, and number 2 is Olympia, Washington. Now, Fairfax County is only a part of the Washington, D.C. area, but the consensus, this economic forum was an emergency meeting, so to speak. The area economy is tanking, and one of the main reasons is that it is too expensive here. Next. Believe it or not, our chairman of our board of supervisors was interviewed by Kofi Annan on WAMU Politics Hour, and I guess his defenses were down because during the interview, Kofi brought up the meals tax, and these are the words of Chairman McKay. The meals tax, it could generate upward of 160 to maybe $200 million. That is a tiny, tiny fraction of the county budget. So even if we did this, this is not the solution. So our own chairman has said the meals tax is not the solution. And for once, I agree with him. Next. Okay, it's a shame you all can't see this chart, but we'll make do. So once again, this is household income since 2000. Excuse me. This is what real estate taxes would be today if real estate taxes had increased at the same rate as household income since 2000. And this is what real estate taxes actually did. So today, the average household's real estate tax is $8,600. Okay? If real estate taxes had increased at the same rate of household income, the real estate taxes would be $4,400. Can anybody use an extra $4,000? Now, in 2016, there was the meals tax referendum, and it failed. But if it had passed, I put down here what would have happened to real estate taxes had the meals tax passed. And just like Chairman McKay said, the meals tax raises so little money that would have no impact. Our real estate taxes would still keep increasing 3 times faster than household income. How am I doing?
Great.
Okay, next. So I emailed the chairman's office and I said, can you please tell us what are the drivers of these real estate tax increases? And basically I got a very snippy reply from his chief of staff, who's a nice guy, I love them all, okay? And he said, he gave me the link to the budget archives, and he said that the spending trends are in the budget archives. In other words, go figure it out for yourself. Well, I always get nervous when I ask a question to which I don't know the answer, and we have already figured it out. And I'm going to tell you the 4 things that are driving up our real estate taxes, and that will lead us to the solutions. The 4 things driving up our real estate taxes are pensions, raises, what we laughingly call health care insurance, but we don't have health care in this country anymore. We just have sick care, and it's very expensive, and it's draining our pocketbooks. So medical insurance, sick care, the influence of immigrants, and low-income students in the schools. Next. Pensions. So if you're lucky enough to work for a private sector employer who gives you a 401k, then a private sector employer will generally match 5% of your income. Okay? For county pension programs, and there's several, the county contribution to the county's contribution to the pension programs is 33% of payroll for county non-uniformed employees, 58% of payroll for police, 22% of payroll for teachers, and the cost of pensions is $890 million, and it accounts for $2,000 of that $8,000 real estate tax. Next. Raises. Basically, the county needs $300 million of new revenue every year to pay for the raises they want to give county and school employees. And this year, county non-uniform employees got 3.8% raises, uniform employees got raises of 4.5%, police 11%. Looks like our Democrat leaders are rethinking defunding the police. Fire and rescue, 8.7%. School employees, about 4%. Now, maybe some of you hear about the Social Security announcement about what inflation was this year and how much our Social Security is going up. Anybody remember what inflation was this year? 2.5%. All of these are above inflation raises, and the county and the school system, except for police, have provided no evidence that they are losing employees because of salary. I maintain that most county and school employees, if they went to the private sector, they would lose salary and certainly lose benefits. The claim is the schools have to compete with neighboring school districts. Well, there's collusion. If we raise salaries, they raise salaries. It's a never-ending spiral, and those other school districts are so small, they can't begin to hire away a lot of our employees. Next. Okay, sick care. So America is sick. Chronic diabetes and cancer and healthcare. There are two reasons for high medical costs. One is the lack of price competition. Hospitals don't post their prices. And the second is we're all sick. And we're sick for three reasons. The federal government's dietary guidelines are not scientific. They're based on lobbying from Big Food, which tells us to eat high carb, lean meat, low fat, and that's exactly wrong. Big Food gets the big markup on these chemicalized cheap foods that they put in the supermarket, and Big Pharma makes a big profit off of keeping us sick. So we eat the chemicalized foods, we get the chronic diseases, we spend all of our money on procedures and drugs. Big Food, Big Pharma makes so much profit off of it that they don't want it to stop. Next. Okay. This is maybe the most important chart in the briefing. So these bars here from 2021, 2022, and I'm including 2026, next year's budget, okay? And this is the amount of money that the county, amount of new revenue the county needed each year to pay for those raises and pensions and medical benefits. This is the amount they needed for raises, this is the amount of increase for the benefits, okay? During the COVID years, there were no raises, and it was like $4 million and $57 million. But once COVID ended, in 2023, they needed $264 million of new revenue, $268 million of new revenue in 2024, $302 million for new revenue this year, and next year they're saying, did anybody see the headline saying that the county is looking at a $300 million budget shortfall for next year? Raise your hand if you've seen that headline. There, okay, a few of us. They need $320 million just for the raises and benefits. I can't break out. They haven't broken out next year's pension benefit spending. Teachers, with their collective bargaining, have asked for 7% raises, costing $240 million. That is the main driver of the real estate taxes. And, okay, if you implement a meals tax, the first year, the meals tax will increase revenues by $100 million. After the first year, the meals tax revenues will increase with inflation and population about $3 million a year. They need $300 million a year, and the meals tax will provide $3 million. So Chairman McCabe was right to say it's not the solution. Unfortunately, what he's now saying is, well, it may be part of the solution. Well, it's not, okay? Next. Okay, the fourth thing driving up taxes is the surge of low-income students in our school system. And all I'll say is that our school system does well, at least compared to the rest of the country, in teaching affluent children to get tutoring and support at home. Our school system is terrible in teaching low-income immigrant children growing up in poverty. And it's because of a bad reading and arithmetic curriculum in grades K through 3, and it can be fixed. They just need to fix the curriculum. Next. I am trying to go fast here. One of the problems the Republican Party has is they've never found an alternative to big government. Every time the Democrats propose some new quote-unquote safety net, the Republicans complain about the tax increases, but they always back down, under the withering charge of abandoning children, and leaving them in poverty, leaving them in the only alternative to big government is self-sufficient families that don't need the government subsidies. Family breakdown is the cause of big government. Every single nickel and dime tax increase, like this meals tax, makes families less self-sufficient. Next. My gosh, I think this is the last slide. I didn't think we'd get there. Is everybody okay? Yeah. Okay. Easy to read, right? Okay. Here are the solutions, okay? Solution number one, and then I have solutions here for taxes, education, transportation, sick care, and climate. And I realize I haven't talked, but these are all things, these are the main drivers of our tax increases. Solution number one, stop raising real estate taxes faster than household income. Well, what about the raises? How are you going to fund them? Solution number two, if county and school employees want above inflation raises and want to keep those pensions, then run a school system and a business-friendly county where household incomes increase faster than inflation. Everybody got that? That's the most important statement in this whole thing. Give our county and school employees the opportunity to earn their raises. And they can do it by fixing that K through 3 curriculum and by having a better permitting process and less regulation. Education. Our big problem is we have this large number of low-income students and we're not teaching them. What's the solution? Make the county's transfer to the school system dependent on raising the achievement, not lowering the standards, but raising the achievement in grades K through 3 of all ethnic groups, and they can do it by fixing the curriculum, which most people don't believe, but there are curricula out there that teach low-income students. Transportation, we didn't talk about Metro. Metro is facing like $1.5 billion budget shortfall every year. It turns out that Northern Virginia Transportation Council did a study saying that Virginia gets $1.5 billion of sales and income tax revenues due to development spawned by Metro. In other words, because of Metro, there's more buildings and houses and so forth, and that raised real estate and income and sales taxes by $1.5 billion. Use the money generated by Metro use the tax revenues generated by Metro to pay for Metro instead of milking it for the salaries and benefits, and instead of creating other taxes. Medical costs, all you have to do to cut your medical costs is don't eat anything made with canola oil. We've talked about that for a long time, and if you don't eat anything made with canola oil, you won't find most of the stuff in the grocery stores. But the way to control medical costs is to make us healthy, not have more Medicare, Medicaid, and Obamacare. And finally, we didn't talk about the climate outrage, where they want to shut down all of our fossil power plants by 2050. That is due to the Virginia Clean Energy Act, which needs to be repealed. The House sponsor of that act is Delegate Rick Sullivan, who happens to be my delegate thanks to redistricting. And I wrote him an email and I asked him in the town hall, what evidence do you have of a current climate crisis? And he has none. It is getting warmer, it is true, it is not a crisis. There are solutions. If you want them implemented, join the Fairfax County Taxpayers Alliance. And then come to the town halls, come to the public hearings. There's a public hearing January 4th at the Government Center at 9 a.m. The sign-up form is well hidden from Republicans, but it is on the top page of SDTA.org. And contact your supervisors and tell them that if county employees, school employees want above inflation raises, then run a county where our incomes go up faster than inflation. Thank you very much.
We have questions. I want.
Before you, I just also want to note that Pat Perry is here. One of our wonderful Republican board supervisors. So if you guys have questions, I have a floating microphone here. So Kevin.
I don't want.
Pensions was the first thing on your first slide. What percentage of their a teacher gets when he retires? Is it? I used to be CIA. I got 65% of my payroll, whatever. I understand that the teachers in Fairfax County get like 99% of what they were earning as a teacher.
I would say 75%. Pat, do you have a better estimate?
Between 75 and 80.
Okay, 75 and 80%. In the private sector, we don't have pensions anymore. We have all got the 401ks. And by the way, county and school pensions have cost of living adjustments, so the pension payment increases every year with inflation. I have 2 grandfathered pensions from working in aerospace. I don't get it, and it's the same amount every year. I hope by the time I die, my pensions will be enough to buy a hamburger.
Any other questions? Yeah.
I have a question about the source of the real estate tax income. Is that including both residential and commercial? Because I've heard that one of the reasons why they're facing a crisis is because of the collapse of the commercial, real estate market in terms of fewer people are going back to the office, companies are going all virtual, and so they're giving up their offices. So the revenue from commercial office real estate is declined dramatically.
Steve, can you get to the first slide here? My graph is only real estate taxes. Does that answer your question?
Does it include commercial real estate?
No. I'm sorry. My graph is only residential real estate taxes. And one of the reasons residential real estate taxes have mushroomed is because commercial real estate taxes have gone down. Good question, and sorry I wasn't clear. Yeah, this is an increase in residential real estate tax for the typical household.
So does the increased amount include whatever the drop is in commercial real estate income?
Go to the next one. The fact that, well, actually, this doesn't show it either. No, that is just strictly residential real estate taxes. The fact that all other county revenues have not kept up with population inflation, one of the main reasons for that problem is the decrease in commercial real estate taxes. Revenues. Did I answer your question?
I'll add to that real quick, and before I do, I want to say thank you to Arthur. I learn something every time I listen to Arthur, so that was one of the reasons that I'm here today. March, You have March for the town halls, that's the budget town halls.
Yeah.
The public hearings are actually in April this year, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. That's the only thing in the slides that are wrong, so.
Thank you.
I want to echo that he is on top of it, and I enjoy it. On the commercial tax base, everybody know the Tower Club building, the shopping bag building in Tysons?
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic, that sold for $119 million. It recently sold for $36 million.
Woo!
So our commercial tax base is taking a hit. In my dad's day, we set 25% commercial tax base as a target so that we could have high quality services without taxing our residents out of their homes. That commercial tax base has significantly dropped over each of the last 3 years, which slides a lot of that income back over on residential. It is helping to drive, but we need a stronger economy. And I go right back to what Arthur said. This is not just about the commercial real estate market, it's about spending. And the spending continues to increase, even though the revenues don't. And you know that doesn't work at home, it shouldn't work in government. But they're just transferring that burden on you.
So, speaking of the spending, okay, last year, with that huge, $300 million increase in revenues, they still, for salaries, they still couldn't fully fund the salaries they promised the employees. The county employees were supposed to get a 4% market rate adjustment, and they got a 2% adjustment. And the school employees, the county school employees get 2 raises a year, a market scale adjustment and a step increase. In the school system, they got the full, they got a 4% market scale adjustment and no step increase. So even with last year's huge real estate tax increase, even with $300 million in new revenue, they still couldn't fully fund the raises they had promised. The raises they are promising are unrealistic, and they ran into it last year, and they're going to run into it again this year. That 7% raise for school employees, yeah.
I have a question. Are there other taxes that might be coming down the road? What else did Fairfax County taxes?
I am not interested in identifying new taxes.
No, I'm just thinking the Democrats are what's coming next from the Democrats.
Well, okay, I'm glad you asked that. In the context of the Metro operating budget, the Democrats are proposing increasing like 10 taxes, okay? And I think they're all existing taxes. I don't know if they've actually thought of something. The county, has 155 taxes, fees, fines, licenses. I can't imagine that there's something they haven't taxed yet. But they are proposing increasing taxes to pay for the Metro operating budget shortfall. They're not even thinking about the capital budget shortfall. And the point is, the tax revenues, as I said, generated by Metro is more than enough to cover their operating and capital fund contributions, but they don't put the money back in Metro. Instead, they spend it on their pensions and raises. Sandra?
Hi. So one of the places they're looking for more money is they're putting their hand out to Governor Youngkin because they have a narrative that the schools are underfunded. And that's not quite, they twist the story to make it sound like it's Youngkin's fault. But it's a $3.7 billion school system with a B for 180,000 students. So this school system, and the problem we're having and why our county's being run into the ground, in my humble opinion, is that all of the school board members are Democrats, and all of the board of supervisors are Democrats, except for Pat Henry. There's no one there to make them be responsible with their spending. So this school system hasn't been independently audited for their spending in recent memory for over a decade. And they're actually starting to show some cracks because McKay's feeling the pressure. I went to the Joint Board of Supervisors at school board meeting. The Drainsville representative, Jim McGearman, actually said, why don't you guys look at your spending? And they bit back at him Ricardi Anderson, the school board member, she's in, is she not Vernon? She told him to stay in his lane. So what they did recently, okay, Arthur, you're right, but we're not gonna win elections bouncing around town telling people that teachers are paid too much. Like, that's the pension situation, and they recently approved collective bargaining, so this is just the beginning. At the last school board, at the last joint meeting, McKay actually, they showed cracks showing, because the school board didn't have a board of supervisors representative at the collective bargaining table. And there's actually a pull string for if, that they don't have to approve collective bargaining. Well, the board of supervisors is kind of like, we weren't there, we might not fund this. And that could get them out of the collective bargaining contract, but this is a huge mess.
About the state underfunding school system, so the mantra of the supervisors is the state of Virginia needs to pay us an additional $600 million, okay? Well, what did I tell you? Each year, the county needs $300 million more for the raises and benefits. If they got the $600 million from the state, that would cover them for 2 years. And after 2 years, the real estate taxes would be going up again. And Sandra, we also won't win elections by caving into union demands.
But they're part of the they're an arm of the Democratic Party, and so these people are in charge, and they're doing what they want because that's how they win elections, and it's just a big
I do think Pat
self-looking resume.
So, we have to move on. So Arthur, thank you. You are always a fountain of knowledge. Thank you very much. So in case you guys don't know Thunder is Turner had arranged to run for House of